Let's begin with the big story of the day. Over 15 days, activist Sonam Wangchuk led a hunger strike in Ladakh. It was a hunger strike that was ongoing for 15 days, but it all came to a head on Wednesday as the protests took a very violent turn. Some unruly elements resorted to stone pelting as well as arson. Some even clashed with the police officials, and the police in turn fired tear gas shells and resorted to bait and charge to control the crowd. Amid this clash, the protesting youth set fire to the BJP office in Leh and reportedly even torched a CRPF vehicle outside the party office. Now, the government has responded to the violence that transpired in Ladakh and has squarely blamed Sonam Wangchuk for instigating the violence. The government has said that certain politically motivated individuals are unhappy with the progress that have been made in the talks with Ladakh's representatives, and they've constantly been trying to sabotage the dialogue process. The government also accused Wangchuk of misleading the people via provocative statements, which also include mentions of Arab Spring-like protests and the reference to the Gen Z protests in Nepal. The government, in fact, believes that the violent mob was incited by Sonam Wangchuk, who they claim broke his fast and left for his village without any attempts whatsoever to control the situation. In fact, we have more breaking updates now coming in after violence marred the protests. Now we have more breaking updates coming in. 40 people have been arrested. More arrests are expected today, with CCTV footage and videos also being analyzed by the police officials to track and arrest those who led the protests. In fact, action will be taken against the instigators as well. These are the details coming in. Some action being taken already. 40 people have been arrested for the violence, the stone pelting as well as arson being reported yesterday. The police officials are closely looking at the CCTV footage, the videos, to track all those who were involved in the violence. In fact, sources suggesting that action would also be taken against the instigators. Police officials are keeping a close watch on the instigators, and action is going to be taken against them. My colleague Sahil Sohail is joining us from the spot with the details. Sahil, just a while ago you showed us the extent of damages that have been caused by the protest turning violent yesterday. What is the action being initiated? We understand many arrests have already taken place, and now the lens is also on who instigated this mob.
Well, yes, we spoke to top officials in Ladakh, and they have in fact confirmed to us that 40 people have so far been arrested, and more arrests are likely going to take place today. Lens is on instigators and on those who led this protest, and on ground zero situation is limping back to normalcy, with curfew in fact has been imposed, and some civilian areas in Leh basically have been closed. The movement of people have been restricted. People are advised to stay indoors. This is the precautionary measure that the Ladakh LG has basically said, and this is the sort of arrangement that has been made by the Ladakh police administration to ensure that normalcy is back in the region, because usually Ladakh has been peaceful area. It has never witnessed such a massive violent protest, and that's what basically is concerning. You can see anti-riot policing, police corps are deployed in every other road, and they are dominating every other road to ensure that peace is not disturbed again. The investigation is underway. The video footage that came out yesterday, quickly after this violence and after the vandalism, is under the lens. They are being in fact thoroughly checked by the police, by the investigating officers. At the same time, like BJP headquarters was targeted, there have been in fact CCTV. That CCTV footage has been also seized. There are also in fact Ministry of Home Affairs has very categorically and clearly said that it was Mr. Sonam Wangchuk who instigated the mob. Basically, they blamed scarcely him for the violence that Leh in fact witnessed yesterday. So lens is on him as well, because he's being seen as the main in fact the instigator of this violence, because Ministry of Home Affairs has an argument. They say that talks between the Ladakh apex body and Ministry of Home Affairs were underway. There was next round of talks going to happen on 6th of October. over. Even for that matter, Ministry of Home Affairs was considering to prepone that meeting, but still then Mr. Sonam Wangchuk went to the hunger strike venue. He proceeded with his 35-day hunger strike. Yesterday was its 15th day, and on 14th of day, there have been statements made by several leaders, including a youth leader of Apex Party, urging youth to come out and support the agitation and support the protest. So these youth basically they went there at the protest site, then proceeded for a protest march. In that we had seen stone pelting, and in fact some of the miscreants basically going inside buildings, putting them on fire, putting police vehicles on fire. So this was the level of violence, and now police cops are in action. 40 people so far have been arrested. More arrests are likely going to happen. But lens is certainly on those who instigated this violence and those who basically instigated youth for this violence that took place in Leh. Ladakh LG Kavinder Gupta has also made it very clear that they are not going to spare anybody who instigated youth for this violence.
Sahil, do stay with us just a moment. Like you mentioned, the question is who actually instigated this mob, because talks had already been going on. It had been scheduled, a date had been given already, and yet violence broke out, which raises several questions. Who wanted the violence to break out? In fact, the centre has said that the mob was incited by Sonam Wangchuk's remarks. There are several statements that he had made leading up to the violence. He broke his fast, he left for his village amid the violence without taking a single step to actually stop the crowd or to control the violence that was breaking out. Ladakh's simmering demand for statehood spiraled into violence, and the charge that has been pinned is on the activists. Let's take you through the details of what the centre has said. The centre responding to the violence that has broken out, with the onus being put entirely on Sonam Wangchuk, who went on a hunger strike. Now, the charge is that there are certain politically motivated individuals who seem to be unhappy. The talks are ongoing. The talks have been scheduled. They've been ongoing. It was progressing well, and yet the violence broke out, which raises several questions. Another charge being that they have been trying to sabotage the dialogue process, because the talks are ongoing. Amid that is when the violence has broken out. So who is trying to derail the dialogue process? Another charge being leveled against Sonam Wangchuk is that he was misleading people via provocation. In fact, there are certain parts of his speeches as well that have come to light where he has also mentioned an Arab Springs-like protest. So provocative speeches being made by the activists. Apart from that, his speeches clearly mentioning the Gen Z type protests that broke out in Nepal and the Arab Spring style protests as well. He also made a reference, and the centre saying very clearly that these references that were made by the activists are a clear case of inciting the mob, of inciting the protesters, saying the mob was incited by Sonam Wangchuk. And even when he saw the violence break out, because he then later issued an appeal as well, a video as well, where he said that this was unacceptable, but sources saying that when the violence actually broke out, then he did not take any step and immediately left from the spot without trying to really control the situation. That's the charge that has been leveled against the activists. The BJP has also released the footage of the violence to claim that there is a Congress councillor for the Upper Leh ward stands in the man who instigated the violence on the ground. They allege that the very same man can be seen instigating the youth for violent acts during these protests. Along with Futsog Stansin, the BJP has also alleged that another Congress councillor by the name of Smanla Norbu has made provocative statements and also had given a call to gherao the entire BJP office. The BJP claims that a day after he called for the office to be gheraoed, the BJP office was set ablaze on the 24th of September.
और आप देख सकते हैं कांग्रेस के काउंसलर स्टानजिंग सेपांग, ये है कांग्रेस के काउंसलर स्टानजिंग सेपांग, ये अपर लेह वार्ड से काउंसलर हैं, ये मेन इंस्टिगेटर हैं और अपने कार्यकर्ताओं के साथ ये किस प्रकार इंस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं, इसके कई फोटो सामने आए हैं। कांग्रेस पार्टी का जो षड्यंत्र है, किस प्रकार से भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशा अल्लाह, यही कांग्रेस पार्टी का मुख्य लाइन है।
So this was the charge by the BJP. In fact, Times Now also spoke to the leader in question, who not only denied these allegations but also said that he was not even in the location in the first place.
तो अमित मालविया है बीजेपी के, उन्होंने ट्वीट किया है तो उन्होंने आपकी पिक्चर लगाई है। वो कह रहे हैं वायलेंस में आप शामिल थे।
मैं उन पे डिफेमेशन का सूट लगाने वाला हूँ।
मगर पिक्चर में तो आप दिख रहे हैं उसमें।
नहीं है मेरा, आप इसी दिन का सीसीटीवी कहीं पे भी देख लीजिए, मेरे पास खुद एलिबाई भी है, मेरे पास सीसीटीवी फुटेज है, उसी टाइम पे मैं कहीं और मौजूद हूँ।